All right, other questions? Right back here.
What's it like to hear your words read by Harriet?
What's it like to hear my words read by Harriet? You know, it's a really surreal experience, and it honestly gives me chills. It's just so, it's one of these bizarre things. You know, this entire experience is very surreal for me. For those who don't know, most of you probably do, I started reading The Wheel of Time when I was 15. I read Eye of the World in paperback. The second week it was out, I had a copy and was reading it, and I have read every Wheel of Time book since, usually rereading the entire series when the new one would come out. And so I've read these books, you know, these have been books have been my companions as I grew up, became a teenager, went to college, became a writer myself, got married, got published, all of these things happening. You know, the Wheel of Time books have been my companion all these times. To be part of it is just amazing, surreal, wonderful, and incredibly frightening all at the same time. So that's about what it feels like, and to have Harriet, you know, for those who don't know, Harriet was Robert Jordan's editor before she was his wife. She discovered him. We essentially owe Eye of the World for the Wheel of Time to Harriet discovering Robert Jordan and giving him a chance at publication. She's known as one of the great editors in the field. She edited a number of books. Yes. She edited Ender's Game, if you've ever read that. Numerous books for Fred Saberhagen, numerous books. I just found out on this tour that she did the Black Company with Glenn Cook, for any fans of those. So anyway, yeah. So this is a wonderful, amazing woman, and she is a fantastic editor. And so it's a true pleasure. Okay, other questions? Way here, over here in the back. Harriet, the pronunciations for the Forsaken.
Give me the right features. Do it without the list. There's granddaughter. Sure. I need a script.
Why don't we do another question while you're finding the right place for Harriet to read the Forsaken names, and we'll do that. If someone has a quick question, we can do that. Okay, we'll do this guy right here. The question is, a Memory of Light's release date. I have mentioned that it's going to be a little bit later than anticipated. Will coincide with DragonCon. It's really too early to know exact publication dates. The reasons it would have to be pushed back is I've now been working on this long enough that it's been 3 years since I reread the series. And so starting January, before I started Memory of Light, I have to reread, and take notes on the entire series, which is going to nudge the book release back by a number of months, and I think it's something you all want me to do. Trust me. I'm forgetting some things. It is not going to be years and years, but it may be a few months late. And being a few months late could, way production schedules happen, it could coincide with DragonCon, or it could be out in March, or it could be out anywhere in between those. You know, the absolute latest it would be out would be Christmas time, this time, that next year, but I certainly don't think it'll take that time long. But I don't have anything to do with production schedules. My goal is to turn the entire complete book in, at least in rough draft form, by January 1st of the following year. And that's, you know, I turned in the complete draft of this one sometime in June, and it came out in November. And so you can, but that was a really, really fast schedule for us. So we'll just have to see. It depends on how quickly the editing can happen, and if I'm able to get her scenes while I'm working on it that she can edit and things like that. So, no, not on her. It's on me to do what she tells me to do. Does that make sense?
Brandon, like many wonderful writers, pays no attention to absolute deadlines. Okay, you asked for The Forsaken. I would like to say I'll give you my pronunciations, but whatever pronunciation you use is correct. Ishmael, Agenor, Baltamel, Samael, Robin, Bilal, Demandred, Asmodean. Oh, wait, Lanfear. Grendel, Semiraj, Messana, Moghedian. Jim used to say, all the women in these books were me. I guess Moghedian was when I said, you've forgotten to put the garbage out again. Osangar and Arangar, friends of the Gar. There we are. Well, hell, Trollocs, Myrdral, all our friends.
The reason that they actually went to a new chapter, to the women, which is, she wasn't just skipping them, the page had to be turned. All right, other questions? Let's do the gentleman sitting down, right there. Does the audiobook match the printed book?
Yes, absolutely.
As I understand, they don't usually do that, but...
I don't know. I don't know when they started production. Because the final manuscript left Team Jordan in Charleston, to transmit to New York on August 20th. And I don't think they had anything before that. Oh, Doherty had begged for something for cast-off purposes. But I think they would be much too smart to work. That's just to get a count, so they can see how much money. So I think that it's exactly the same, but I wasn't there.
Yeah, audiobooks do take longer, but what you've got to remember is the print book, we also have to do a lot of typesetting and things like this. And so I would expect if there are any differences, it's proofreading things that hopefully the audiobook people would have caught themselves. On audio, they can't misspell something, so yeah, it doesn't really matter to them if we've missed, italicizing a word here or there. So anyway, all right, other questions? Right here. Why does the audio cost twice as much as the print? It's actually an excellent question. The audio costs so much because paying the voice actor to record for hundreds of hours, because what you're getting is usually they're doing several takes, and then all the recording equipment and things like this, it's very expensive. You'll notice though that if you buy them online, when they don't have to do as much packaging material, for instance, Audible, you can get the books for $15 on audiobook there. But you have to join their audiobook club and things like that. So you can. So I will point you that way. If you do a lot of audiobooks, that might be a way to go. Though I hope the bookstore doesn't get mad at me for mentioning that. But yeah, that in that case, audiobooks, there's just a lot of packaging and there's a lot of things that go into them. I do believe they get really expensive, and I'm hoping that the price for in-store audiobooks starts coming down now that audiobooks are getting much more popular, and they're driving them. So hopefully, but they're very long, they get very expensive, and I apologize for that. Okay, right here.
While we're on the topic of editions, why does the Kindle edition come out so much later?
Why does the Kindle edition come out so much later? I'll let Harriet speak on this.
Kindle reached an agreement with the publishers that still worries me a lot. The only way a publisher cannot say, no, I don't want to release this book simultaneously with the hardcover. The only way they can not do it is if the writer, or in this case the estate of the writer, says no. You may not be aware that the New York Times, in counting books for the bestseller list, does not count e-books. Years ago I decided that the definition of a book was an artifact that allowed the thoughts of one person to be communicated to another person without an external power source. And certainly by that definition, an e-book is tricky. And I was scared of them, and I still am. However, Brandon went to bat for you all. And I then entered into new conversations with Tor, and it's now going to be 90 days. This is essentially to give the book a chance to run on the New York Times as long as it possibly can, without undercutting the sales, but because then the books are nicely discounted, which works to your advantage to have, as long as it's on the list to a certain point, they're heavier discounts.
All right, last question. Last question, unless it's a really short one right there.
What's your favorite character to write, and what's your favorite character to read?
What's my favorite character to write and my favorite character to read? My favorite character to write, I will borrow a line from Robert Jordan, who, when asked this in an interview, who said, "Whoever I'm writing at the moment." And that's what a writer really has to learn to do. Each character is the hero or heroine in their own mind, in their story, whether they're villain or whether they're side character or whether they're, main character. And so when you sit down to write somebody, you just have to be able to see through their eyes and see the world as they do. That said, some scenes are more fun, some scenes are more dramatic, some scenes are more exciting, and which one is favorite depends on my mood at the time and things like that. When I was just a fan before I started working on this, I usually answered that Perrin was my favorite when people ask me. That said, there are books where Perrin shines, and there are books where other characters shine, and the books in which Matt really shined in the later books, if you would have asked me right after reading one of those, I probably would have said Matt. But normally I said Perrin. All right, let's go ahead and call it here. You can ask questions when you come up through the line. I'm going to go over just a few little things here that I have on my little list of tasks. Let's see. Number one. We did pre-sign a bunch of books. I'm not sure where they are, but you can ask a bookstore employee. If you just have to go and you can't afford to wait really long, I'm sure they'll sell you one of those. And if you bought your book here, they might even be willing to exchange it, but you would have to have your receipt and prove that you bought your book here. So if you need to take off, feel free to do that. Harriet would rather not, how should I say, I won't sign books I didn't write, and Harriet won't sign books she didn't work on, so just keep that in mind. Harriet will sign earlier Wheel of Time books that were written by Robert Jordan. She edited on all of those. So if you want to run down and find a copy of Eye of the World and get it signed by Harriet, I'm certain she would be happy to do that. But she won't sign the Mistborn trilogy or Elonsis or Warbreaker. Excuse me, she did do an edit on The Way of Kings, a guest edit, along with my main editor on those, Moshe Fader, who's wonderful, but both of us knew we wanted some extra eyes, and Harriet is so fantastic, we asked her, so she will actually sign The Way of Kings, if you do have that. Let's see, I have one or two more things on here. We will be here at least until 5 o'clock, maybe until 6 o'clock. I'm guessing 6. And so if you want to go grab lunch and you have a later number, we'll still be here. Don't worry about taking off or going and browsing the bookstore, things like that. And then the last thing, this is something I say at every signing I do. We've had questions about the ebooks and things, and I love ebooks. I think they're going to do some revolutionary things. But one thing to keep in mind is we do know that books are cheaper online. But if everyone buys the books online, then we do not have bookstores anymore. The bookstores will go away. And therefore, the event space for us to do signings like this will go away. And so I actually very much appreciate the booksellers whose job it is, they are here so you can browse, so you can ask them questions, and they provide a wonderful service for us as writers. And so I request that you consider buying something from the bookstore today. It doesn't have to be one of our books. It can just be something from the cafe. But if you bought all your books somewhere else and brought them in, we are still happy to sign them. Nobody go away because of this. But keep in mind that they generally have to hire extra staff to do things like this, and it is a lot of work that they do to provide this space, and they have to have this space right here that the online stores don't have to pay for. They don't have to have space for events like this. So just consider that, and if you don't have any money right now, maybe the next time the book comes out, and as thanks to them for hosting signings like this, maybe you could consider coming and getting a book from them. But really, don't go away. I just like to put in a plea. We appreciate a big bookstore, so thank you guys. All right, I'm going to hand the microphone over to them, and I'm going to sit down and start signing.